Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first podcast of the year. I know I'm a little slow. It's February, but I'm sure you can forgive me for that, can't you? So I'm sat here with my cup of tea. You can see that. What a pretty little cup. I have no idea where that's come from. Doesn't say. Just says dishwasher and microwave safe. As I was getting myself ready, I realised I've done my usual trick of leaving an end. Oh, honestly. Do you ever do that? I do. I leave ends all the time. I keep forgetting that. I'm notorious for forgetting that sort of thing. So I'm just going to pop the little fella in there. The problem with this multicolour yarn is I've got to find the same blue. I think then it goes into purple, but I'm just going to pull it through and then snip it off. There are my scissors. So how are you doing? How's the year going so far for you? We've had some really awful weather in different parts of the world, haven't we? Australia in the southern hemisphere, they've not been doing too well with the floods and things like that. And in the northern hemisphere, there's been sort of weird amount of snow everywhere, just bizarre. And then here in the UK, it's been really warm. Although I have had the occasional day where I could wear some of my scarves that I've made, but not very many. It's been really quite warm. So it's been the perfect excuse to just get my head down, especially with the political climate everywhere, to just turn the telly off, turn the radio off, and get my head down and do some knitting and crocheting. And yes, I said the word knitting. I did. I have been knitting. Not half as much as I crochet. Crochet is what I do. But I've decided that I'm not going to let knitting beat me. Knitting is not going to beat me. It's one of those things, just like crochet, I've had to teach myself how to do those things. And I found knitting really complicated. I just couldn't get on with using two needles. It was just so and I haven't got very big hands, so it was really, really annoying. And with the rheumatoid arthritis in my hands as well, that was a real pain. I just couldn't get on with it. But I decided I wasn't going to let it beat me. I got on and I looked on YouTube and found out, some ways to get around it. I was having trouble with metal needles, and I discovered that I should go to wood or bamboo. And that's been the charm. It has definitely been the charm. I can do it now. I'm knitting. Yay! So let me just I'll start with the knitting side of it all. I've got this here. Now what I decided to do is make some squares. Basically, it's practice. Now this hasn't been blocked, of course, but I'll just show you there. That's me practicing ribbing, because ribbing for me was just all over the place. This is a lovely chunky wool actually. It is a wool blend from Sirdar, I think. Yeah, it's a Sirdar wool, and I was practicing my ribbing, which I think is coming along quite well actually. It was quite loose, as you can see at the bottom. We've got this little skirty thing going on here. But as I've progressed, it's got better. And what I thought I would do is, after I've blocked it to see, I want to have a look to see what size that's going to be when I block. And then I thought I'd make some squares, sort of like a sampler. And then make maybe a blanket out of it, or a throw over, or Afghan, out of samples of things as I progress. And it's like anything, like playing the piano or something like that. If you do deliberate practice, go over and over and over and over. I have no idea how many rows is there. These are 6mm needles, and I've just gone over and over and over this ribbing stitch to get used to it, because it was a mess when I was doing it before. I'm perfectly aware that if I make a cardigan or a sweater or something, it's going to be on really tiny needles. But if you're learning something, try a slightly larger needle. It would be a whole lot easier for you. And so I thought I would do some samples to sort of get used to what I'm doing. So that's an achievement. I'm pleased with that. But not only have I been knitting that, I've got a pile of things here. If it all collapses, I shall cry. Actually, oh, I've lost a ball of wool. Right, this, oh, it's so pretty. Look at that. How lacy is that? This is from a magazine. I think it was last month. I think it was a January magazine. I can't show you the pattern because it would be against copyright, but I can show you the picture just on the side there. This beautiful lacy shawl, scarf. It's called the Parisian Chic scarf. It really beautiful. Now I haven't got any lace weight yarn, but I've got this really beautiful, I don't know if you can see the sparkly bits. Yeah, you can. Look at that. Gorgeous sparkly bits. It's like a pearlescent thread through it, and this is a double knit. So I thought, if I use a double knit and I increase the needles, I should get a lacy effect. And so I went up to 7mm. It calls for 4mm, and I've gone up to 7mm, and I've made that. If you like the idea of this, it's from a book, Head to Toe Winter Knits by Monica Russell, and I think I can just pop that there. The picture of the book, Head to Toe Winter Knits by Monica Russell. Actually, she's got all sorts of bits and bobs in there, hats and scarves, and there's even a cabled hat there, so that's great if you want to learn that. I'm not sure I'm at that level yet where I want to learn a little bit of cabling, but you know, in time. And I'm thinking of picking up that book, so I think that's great. So I've been working on that. It is a 6-row repeat, so it's not that difficult, and it's gorgeous. The most difficult bit for me is the drop stitch row. Now, I felt so uncomfortable. I still feel uncomfortable, and I've done this much on it, and I still feel uncomfortable when I have to drop that stitch off the needle, and it's really, I'm thinking, oh my god, I've dropped a stitch, because I don't know how to pick it back up. I know you have to do something with a crochet hook, but at this point in time in my knitting journey, I'm not at that place where I know what to do. So if you know what to do, link below and let me know, and then I can go and study that, just in case I really do mess it up. That's likely to happen. But I really like this. It's going to be a lovely, airy, kind of spring-like scarf, and I love a scarf no matter what time of the year it is. I really love a scarf. So I've begun that one, and that's actually my February thing. What else did I do as February began? February has begun as usual with my Granny Square Fest. I love Granny Squares. I usually make a whole bunch of them, you know, for anything whatsoever. You know, blankets, cardigans, jumpers, teddy bears, tea cozies, mug warmers, anything whatsoever. Granny Squares. I'll tell you what else I've done for my Granny Squares. I haven't blocked this yet, so please excuse the fact that it's cinched in the middle. Ta-da! Look at that, isn't it cute? I decided not to line it, and it's got my favourite colours in there, green and purple. Love it! Look at that. Gorgeous. It is a glasses case. My glasses fit in there lovely, as I'm not a big fan of those great big clunky glasses cases, and when they're in your handbag and you're walking along, they clunk, 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 you know, you can hear them banging against your keys, and I don't want that, so I wanted this to slip inside the pocket in my handbag. So isn't that pretty? That's nice and easy. Thinking of doing a little tutorial, because I'm doing a tutorial series for beginners, for people that keep asking me, you know, how do you do that? You know, can you teach me? So I thought I'd put it all down on video, and then it's a lot easier. Then you can go back and have a look at it when I'm not around. So we did a granny square the other day, so I'm thinking of showing you how to do 4 granny squares, how to stitch it together, and then how to put a nice little border and a button with a loop. It's just really sweet. I think that's so pretty. Okay, so I think what else? Oh yes, at the beginning of February. Now I wear a lot of cardigans. I'm a cardigan girl more than a sweater girl. I like to wear my scarves, and I like a cardigan, but I often button the top button up. And I made this. I should have been wearing a blue cardigan to go with this today, but I didn't. It's a collar, basically. It's a very, very cute collar, and you just wear it over the top of your cardigan to make it look really pretty, like you've got one. I'm thinking of making a nice lacy version in cream to go over the top of my cardigans, and I think that would be really, really pretty. These are so easy to make, you know, as you can see here. I think that's 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, sorry. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 plus a foundation chain of double crochet, then a single crochet border, and I've popped on a gorgeous shell button there. Really pretty. Easy, little easy projects. I like those. They make you feel good when you're in the middle of something big and a little bit more complicated, like this chap whose ball of yarn I lost just a minute ago down the side of the desk. I'm making this little cardigan, this little baby cardigan. It's a puff stitch, little tiny puff stitch, and it's made with a 3mm hook, so it's been a little bit of a pain. You know, because working with a 3mm hook is not the same, and it's coming out lovely. It's actually a coat. It's I like the back. The back is just so beautiful. Isn't that pretty? I love it. What I like the most about it is those beautiful traditional pearl buttons. Aren't they gorgeous? I love that. I love babies in knit or crochet. I'm going to put that over there because that's where its ball of yarn is, and I'm going to spider web myself in here otherwise. So my major project that happened in January, I'm going to have to move my tea this time. We do not want this going flying. Major project that happened in January, and I have put it on my blog. I haven't finished that. I've put the most part of the tutorial on my blog. It's a written pattern, and it's basically this beautiful poncho. I don't know if this is the back or the front. This is the front. Okay, beautiful poncho made with this circular granny square, beautiful circular center granny square to give that lovely detail, and then it just gets bigger and bigger until you've got, and then you make 4 of them, as you see in my blog post, and I will link that at the bottom as well. Then I put because I'm short, I didn't want to put too much of a hem on the bottom. I've just done a 2-row granny square, granny stitch cluster at the bottom, and then I made this beautiful collar. It's a single crochet. Oh, look at that. It's like those things at the beach, isn't it, where you stick your head in? Okay, so I made a single crochet there, and it was a single crochet decrease all the way up, and then I did a few rows of just single crochet with no decreases whatsoever, and I stitched it, slip stitched it down at the back to keep that curl permanently, which is exactly what I wanted, and it sits perfectly. It sits so nicely around me. And I basically, the other day we went out, and it makes quite really big like that, don't I? We went out and I popped this over my fleece. I just basically popped this over my fleece, and I was snug, really snug. So this is beautiful. I'm going to finish off that tutorial on my blog, basically just showing you how I joined them together. I did an inside out single crochet, so you can barely see it on the right side, but on the wrong side you've got your single crochet, your little ridge there. That's how I joined them together, and then I'll give you some instructions on how I did this gorgeous. I absolutely love this fleck. I really love this tweed fleck Aran that I picked up, and you know what, I wanted to do it as a trial. So my sister-in-law told me about some yarn in Wilko's actually, and you know, usual yarn snobs, you know, it comes out in you, you can't help it, you just Wilko yarn. Went there, had a feel, and I thought, oh, actually this isn't bad. It's a 72% acrylic, 25% wool and 3% viscose. There, you see that? You get 340 meters in this ball, and it's 200 grams by a company called Lauren. Buy it in Wilko's. And do you know what? It is gorgeous. I absolutely love the flecks. Some of them are chunky, and it is just so nice. It gives it a little texture. This, I mean, I've always loved Aran. When I was growing up, Aran, you know, your nan always made you an Aran cardigan, you know, an Aran cardigan or an Aran sweater. Everybody had that sort of thing. And so for me, I've always loved that. That's been my go-to winter cardigan. I love that. And at the moment I don't have one. I bought one from a store that wasn't very good quality, and I think it only lasted about 2 years, and I wasn't happy with that. I tried to pick it apart, but it was factory made, you know, where they make those big pieces of knitting and cut them and then use the machine to weave them together, to sew them all together. So, you know, there was no undoing that fibre and reusing it for socks or anything. So I was disappointed with that. So I was looking for a really nice Aran, and then my sister-in-law recommended that one in Wilko. And I tell you what, I have got it with the collar. Yeah, with the collar, it was just over 400 grams that I used. So it was just over 2 of these. I started on the 3rd one, and I really haven't used a lot. I think I was using, you know, just for that last inch or so of the collar. So it wasn't a lot. I have now still got a ball and a bit of the, nearly 2 of that, so nearly 400 grams left. So I'm really excited about that. I might pop down into Wilko's and get another ball and make a proper Aran cardigan, you know, with the cabling and everything. I'll do it crochet, because I don't think my knitting is that good yet. No, I'm not going to boast about my knitting, it's not there. So what else did I do? Update on more stuff. Oh, my little hat. I wanted to make a really simple hat, so I went from a circular center, I went top down. This is crochet, top down, 2 strands of yarn together, and I made this really lovely hat. It's really simple, and I made one for my hubby as well, except his hasn't got a flower. He didn't want a flower. Not a flower kind of guy. Likes them in the garden, but not on his hat. And as a trucker, I don't think that would be very good. You know what they're all like in that profession. So there we go. Beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. I love the way that's worked out, and I've actually made them in different colours to show on the blog, and I will do, hopefully we will get around to tutorials. I've got so many things. I crochet so quickly that I've got plans for so many tutorials and haven't got round to making them, and so I really must do it. So also, actually, is this the same flower? No, it's not. It's not the same flower. I've got on my Etsy shop a pattern for a heart for the cushion I made for Valentine's Day, which I didn't bring over here to show you. But that's on my Etsy shop, and that's got a flower pattern in there for free as well. But when I do this hat with you, I shall show you how to make this flower, and it's got, I love plopping the button in there. I do like that. It's a really nice accent. Then the rest of the things that I made with it are not my patterns, okay? So I made these gorgeous, oh, I've got an end poking through. That needs snipping. There we are, poked it back in. I made these gorgeous fingerless mitts. Aren't they pretty? I love them. They are really good. It's a fantastic pattern, and I tell you what, it's quite, I don't know why, but it's quite stiff, and I've got quite small hands, and I was really pleased with these. I wore them the other day, and you know, it's great to be able to, you know, use your hands when you've got mitts on. I've done that, and I made a scarf, and again, this is not my pattern, so I'm not going to go into too much about that. So I made a scarf with the two strands together, the same colours, so that it all matched, and then I added my flowers at the end of the scarf there. I think, let me have a, oh, I'm all twisted there. Let me have a think. I think the gloves were Bag-O-Day crochet, and I think the scarf was Jada in Stitches. Great YouTubers to follow if you're not following their patterns. They're great. Crystal from Bag-O-Day Crochet, she's fantastic, really lovely lady. Jada from Jada in Stitches, she's a giggle a minute, great girl. So then I made 2 hats. Ta-da! I love these hats. This is hubby's with his big fat brim. There is a yarn review. This is made with James C. Brett yarn, chunky marble chunky from they're from Yorkshire. They're a great Yorkshire company, and so I did a yarn review for these. You can check that out on my YouTube channel as well. So I've made those hats, and as you can see with the sun streaming through the window, it's too warm to wear them now. Great British weather. So in all likelihood, I've made these gorgeous hats. I mean, they really are gorgeous. The colours are wonderful, and it is quite likely that they're going to have to go in the drawer and wait until next winter, because we did not have a cold January or February this year. In fact, was it Saturday? I think the warmest temperature in the UK on Saturday was 17.5 degrees Celsius. Way too hot for a February. So whatever, if they have to go in the drawer and wait till next winter, they have to go in the drawer. Who cares? It doesn't matter. They're made and they're ready. And I'm probably going to get some more of that yarn because it was so nice that I might make some mittens, or even have a go at making proper fingered gloves. I haven't gone that far either, because I actually prefer mittens. I don't know about you, but I get really cold little fingers when I'm wearing gloves. They get so cold, I slip them out of the finger and hold them like that in my gloves. And then my husband says, what on earth are you doing with your hands? Because I'm walking around with my hands in a weird position. And I'm like, because I've taken my little finger out of the glove to keep it warm. So I usually go with mittens, because of my little fingers. That's the most ridiculous thing. So continuing on from my beginners tutorials that I've been making, we're not only going to probably have a look at that little I've got a massive pile growing up over there. We're not only going to be having a look at this lovely little glasses case, which I think is just so nifty, so sweet. I've got to block it. As you can tell, it keeps going in, so I haven't blocked it yet. So that'll be nice and square by the time we get on and do that. But I thought then we would move on to circles. Circles, and then how to make a circle into a square as well, because that's useful. But I thought we would do circles and squares, different types of circles and squares, and make some dishcloths. Dishcloth or face cloth, whatever you like. This is my 8-pointed star, which I thought was kind of funny because in some religions, 8-pointed stars signify cleaning and regeneration. So I thought that was kind of funny. You know, a dishcloth with 8 points. You know, it's symbolic too. I think that's really pretty. I think this would have been nice as a mandala. Or a mandala, or however you say that, you know, with the different colours coming out. I think that would be really nice. I have got some different coloured cotton yarns to go. So I've got the white, and I've got a multicolour, and I've got this lovely deep corally peach. It's got a thread in it. I think it's got a metallic thread in it. That's from James C. Brett as well, from his Glisten range. I am quite a fan of James C. Brett. Have you noticed? Yes, you have. So I'm going to be making some of those with my beginners as well. So we're going to be making face cloths or dishcloths. Because these are 100% cotton, you can use them for either. Okay, either a dishcloth or a face cloth. Now I've made a very, very simple mitt, um, because I made a bath puff, a shower puff, for myself out of this cotton. And because this cotton is so absorbent, it's really hard to get a lather going. And that, I don't know about you, but it kind of makes me feel like I'm not clean if I haven't got a bit of a lather going. So although it works and there is a little lather, it's not good enough for me. So I made a mitt instead, and that's really cool. But I think I'm going to make it longer. It's basically the length of my hand, and when it got to the wrist, I stop it. So it's basically that shape. It just goes over my hand, and so I lather up both bits. It's great because then the back of your hand is easy to be washing your back with, and then the front, and it's nice, and it washes really well, and I love it. The only trouble with that is it slips off. So I'm either going to make it a little bit longer, or I'm going to put a longer cord, because I put a very, very small loop on it so that it could hang up in the shower to dry. So I might put a longer cord so it can go around the wrist so it doesn't slip off, because obviously it gets big and heavy and with all the water and so on. So I've got to work on that one to refine that pattern before I do a tutorial on that one. But this one is so sweet. Isn't that gorgeous? The thing about a face cloth, a dishcloth, you want some size on a dishcloth, because you'll be scrunching it and all sorts of things to get washing. But with a face cloth, you do really want it at least your hand size. So that because when you're washing your face or whatever part you're washing, you do at least want a hand size worth. So it needs to be a particular dimension, and I quite like that one. That's a pretty one, although once it's wet and you hang it back up again, you're not likely to get that really pretty pattern. I've only got that because we've blocked it, and it's in fact you can iron this because it's 100% cotton, so that's quite easy. So yeah, I'm going to do the tutorial on that because I think it's quite a sweet thing. But then we were going to do washcloths, dishcloths. We're going to do some very basic stitches, for beginners and people who want to come on a little bit more and give something a try and do an easy pattern on that. So we'll do that. And then maybe pot holders. I know that's an American term, not something we use over here. So pot holder is really just an oven glove or an oven mitt, but it's not a mitt, it's not a glove, it's like a piece of material like this, but it is thicker. And it is made of natural fibres. Do not make them out of acrylic because that will melt. Acrylic is a plastic substance and it will melt. So it has to be out of something natural like a cotton. But obviously, as you can tell, this is just not going to cut it. It's not thick enough. So it does involve doubling things up so that you can grab it. The last thing we want is for you to burn yourself. So we'll do some pot holders later on as well. So I think that's just about it. As you can see, my scrap blanket is here. I've added a little bit more. When I finish a project and I've got a little bit left over, it goes on the blanket. So as you can see, it's patchwork really. Little bits here and there. There's not a great deal. So as I go on, I finish a project and it goes on there. I had a little tiny bit left over from the hats that I made from that chunky wool. It made one granny stitch on there, and that was it. So as far as the memory of those hats are concerned, I would have to hunt for that one granny stitch to find it. But it is full of memories, and it's a great way to use up your scraps rather than throwing them away. I hate wasting yarn. We all work hard to get our money, and some reason my video stopped, so I'll just go back. And I think I was talking about wasting yarn. You know, to have this yarn at the end of a project and to throw it all away, I think is a waste. So if it's a long piece, I tend to save it. I ball them up, and I think I'm not sure I've shown in a tutorial how I do the what is known as the magic knot, to put it all together, but I will do that in a tutorial and hopefully show that. I might do one on its own to show the magic knot actually, and then I make a ball, and then when it's a certain size I'll add it to the blanket. If I have little teeny weeny bits, let me just grab a teeny weeny bit like that. That was cut off of the glasses case. You see, that's not big enough to do anything with. So what I do is I've got a little bag over there on the side of my desk, and in that bag I pop all of those, and I use those to stuff my amigurumi that I made. In fact, I haven't brought any to show you, but I've made a cactus. I've made 2 cacti later. Is it cacti? Cactuses? We've got gremlins in the machine. The video stopped again. Anyway, cacti. I've decided on cacti. I'll have to look that up. So I made that as well. I've made 3 dolls. I've made a bunny rabbit. And so I like to make these things. And you need stuffing. You can get polyester toy stuffing. But I also like to save those little bits of yarn, and one of the cacti that I made, a cactus that I made, I stuffed entirely with those little bits of yarn that I have clipped off. And the cactus with its root, it must be at least that tall. So it's got the brown root, then the cactus, then a little flowery thing on the top. And so you know, I stuffed the whole thing with those little bits of yarn. So keep hold of them, because you know, it's really important in this day and age that we are conscious of how much we're throwing away and how much we're reusing. So when I do all that sort of thing, I'm making my scrap blanket, which is really pretty. I love it. It's so nice to sit on the sofa all cuddled up and with that blanket, and then to know that I've used the extra bits to stuff inside amigurumi and things like that, and that means I feel better that I haven't wasted anything. There's nothing in there that I have actually thrown away. Other than that, that's about it. Future projects. I'm working on the idea of a scarf, a quick flash scarf. I was going to do it 2 colours. Not too happy about how that has gone together, so I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it in a yarn I think that I've picked up. That is a WI yarn that I've picked up from Hobbycraft there. This is a 4-ply. Of course, you don't have to use a 4-ply for any of my projects. I've got to go put it away now. There we go. There we are. Put away. So you don't have to use any 4-ply for any of my projects. You don't have to use any of the same yarn that I use. You use what you like. But I'm thinking of doing a scarf for that one, which is really, really lovely. It uses trebles that I have designed. Some nice trebles there. I've got all sorts of bits and bobs that I've been designing and that I plan little by little to bring out in tutorials. But there you go. That's it for today. I think that's the update. I think I've told you everything that's been going on. So look forward to the next podcast. Hopefully I'll have loads more to share with you, and hopefully this wonderful weather will continue, despite the fact that I haven't had the chance to wear my hat. Now my tea's going cold. I can still feel that the cup is warm. So I'm going to go ahead and drink my tea. And I hope that you have a fantastic day and a great week. And I'll catch up with you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.